Well, hey there, I'm a music teacher and I've never heard the Pokemon Diamond and Pearl soundtrack before in my life, and today I'm going to be listening to it for the very first time. This is part 5 of this series. If you haven't checked out parts 1 through 4, those are on this channel under the Live tab, not under the videos, under the Live tab. So with that said, oh, double audio, huh? How fun and exciting. Fun and exciting. Oh, I found it. All right, how about that? That should be better for you. We had to do a very last minute switch over. For some reason, OBS wasn't recognizing my iPad as a source, so we're now showing you the iPad via screen share from the display of my computer. So if you want to know the kind of day we're having over here. All right, let's rock and roll. We're going to start with Lake Cavern. Let's do it. You guys hear the music okay? Lake Cavern, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, we can hear an ostinato pattern repeated over and over again. It sounds like this. And that is ostinato. Why is it ostinato? Ostinato is a fancy music word that means it repeats in a way that is stubborn. Right? So think about stubborn. Someone who's stubborn, you can't convince them to do something else. If the music sounds like you couldn't convince it to do something else, that's ostinato. So ostinato, repeating stubbornly. And it is indeed repeating stubbornly. Now, how is it repeating? We have scale degree 1, scale degree 5, scale degree flat 7, and then scale degree 1, 1 octave higher. The key is, I'm going to call it C minor. So here's scale degree 1. Here's scale degree 1. Scale degree 5, scale degree flat 7, scale degree 1 again, 1 octave higher. Now, if we put a little bit of a fun time on this, this is what it'll sound like. And there you go. That's my kind of rock and roll version of Cave, or Night Cave. Cave, Lake Cavern. I was like, yeah, it's got something to do with a cave. That's Lake Cavern. All right, let's keep it going. Okay, so what is this called? Battle Lake Guardians. So in whoops, wrong screen. Sorry guys. In Battle Lake Guardians, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, we can hear this bass line. Now this bass line repeats over and over again, which means we would call it ostinato. Ostinato means something that repeats stubbornly. Stubbornly. Now, an interesting thing to take a look at with this is, yes, this is classic Pokemon confrontation battle music. I'm assuming a battle's happening here. Why? Because we have a 1. Also, we're in the key of C minor. That right there is like a lot of battle music from a lot of generations of Pokemon is going to be in the key of C minor. And then also sometimes in the parallel C major. Now, also it does say battle, music sheep. Yes. Thank you. That's an astute observation. Top marks. Thank you, music sheep. You're keeping me on track, and I appreciate that. Right. So we have 1, flat 2, flat 7. These 3 notes right here is just emblematic and summarizes Pokemon battle music. We hear that with notes. We hear that with chords. 1, flat 2, flat 7. Now, I think what's interesting about this particular piece of music, it also goes to the flat 6. Now, the flat 6, I actually want to call this the sharp 5, which is the same sound as the flat 6. So flat 6, sharp 5 sounds exactly the same, kind of like how the words to and two, they're spelled different, but they sound the same. Flat 6, sharp 5, spelled differently, sounds the same. I want to call this the sharp 5, but because we're already using flats, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stay with flats for everything. So flat 6, and then 1, flat 2, flat 7, 2. So right here, and actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this in green. Okay, so green, we have classic Pokemon battle music notes, classic Pokemon battle music notes, and then right in the middle, this one note right here that's a little bit different, that adds a little spice, a little variation, and in my opinion, a little bit more danger to this battle theme. All right, let's keep it rocking and rolling with... I love how everyone's like, and it also says battle in the title. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you. That's funny. All right. Fight area day. Gonna guess it's gonna be, yeah. Okay. Right. Fight area day. Jeez Louise. All right, so it's Lupin's time. I think what's interesting too is you actually hear Toby Fox might have been inspired by this. We hear me doom dun doom, just a little Undertale-y, if you will. Now, I think what's interesting about this, there's a couple things interesting about this. Well, I'll let this play through. Yeah. All right, that harmony moves pretty fast there. So go 1 to 6 to 2, 5 to something. All right, that's the 2, 5, taking up half a measure each. 2, 5, and then it goes somewhere else. Oh, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. All right, then it goes, this is very quick. It goes 6, 5 something. Is it 6, 5, 1, and then to 4? Yeah. Okay. So 6, 5, 1, and then it goes to 4 to 5. Yo, this reminds me of some Pokemon Black and White harmony right here. I don't know if you guys remember those streams, but like, bro, that was some dense harmony. Then it's like a 1 sus 4 to 1. Yo. Okay. I'm going to let you guys listen to this one more time as I color code this for you. Okay, fight area, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, we hear a delightful chord progression that actually sounds like it could belong in Pokemon Black and White because of how dense the harmony is. Let me show you. So this starts off, we have, in the key of F major, we have a 1 to a 4, over 1 to a 1 to a 4 minor 6. How spicy. Back to a 1, to a 6, to a 2, 5, 6, 5, 1. That then turns us around again to 4, to 5, to 1 sus 4, to 1. Woo! That's one spicy meatball of a chord progression. Some interesting things to notice here, for me anyway, is that it's like we have this 2, 5 right here, which you think would bring us to the 1, but it doesn't. It goes to the 6, and then it does go to 5, and it does go to 1, but this 1 is actually more like a 5 of 4. It's more like a secondary dominant that then launches us to this subdominant, dominant, to tonic movement here. And here's the thing. You think we're going back to 1. You think we're going back to the tonic area. You think we're going back to safety, musical safety. The tonic area is musical safety. Subdominant area is music like mild danger. And then the dominant area is like serious music danger. So you'd think right here, because we have the 1, we're going to safety. But no. And here's the really cool thing. This 5 is normally danger that leads to safety at a very basic level. So we have danger, safety, and we think we're done. We hit this one, we think we're done, but no, we're not done. We do mild danger, danger, safety again. But even then, when you think you're really done the second time, you're not actually done because there's a 1 sus 4, which brings the 4. So here we have the Roman numeral 4, which you have right up here, which is mild danger. So like some danger, right? We have some danger again with this added note here, some tension that then's resolved again. So it's like 3 different times the chord progression goes to resolve before it actually resolves. So we think it's going to resolve here going 2, 5. We think it's going to go to 1. Here, let me do this with a different color. So I'm doing this in blue. The first time we think it's going to resolve here, it doesn't. We think it's going to resolve here, it doesn't. We think it's going to resolve here, it doesn't. It finally resolves here at the very end. So cool. That's really interesting. That is some really cool harmony. That's cool. That is cool. That is really cool. Oh, gosh, I love music. Okay. Let's do Fight Area Night. It sounds very close to the deck. Okay, let's do this. The first 4 chords of Fight Area Night from Pokemon Diamond and Pearl hold a surprising connection where it's all tied up with one single note. You see, we're in the key of F, and the first chord is the 1, F major, and the notes in this chord are going to be F, A, and C. Now the next chord is the 4 chord, but we can see that the lowest note of the chord is again going to be the 1. So the notes in this chord are going to be F, B flat, and D. Then we come back to the 1. Again, notes are F, A, C. Now this time we go to the 4 with a, I'm calling a minor 6. It might just be a minor 4. But still, the lowest note is the 1. So here, the notes are going to be F, B flat, and then D flat. And if we thought about having the 6 in there, that's going to be a G. Now, something really cool to think about here as well is we have a major 4 here, but then a minor 4 here, which actually creates a really interesting contrast. This 4 serves to actually extend the dominant area, the tonic area. This 4 serves to extend the tonic area here by keeping the 1. You can see this in classical music. A lot of times they'll use the 5 here to extend tonic area. They'll do like... Oh no, maybe I'm wrong. No. A lot of times in classical music, what they'll do is, here's what they do in classical music. But before I get there, hold on. Let's back this up for a second. All right, so let's understand what's happening here and why this is so cool. So in music, we have 3 fundamental areas. We have the tonic area, we have the subdominant area, we have the dominant area, right? Tonic is safety. subdominant is like mild danger, and then the dominant area is like danger, danger. So we can think about this as like we're home. This is like a mid-boss or walking around in a world that might not be so safe, like a video game world. And then dominant area is like we hit a boss. That's the musical equivalent. And so we can think about the tonic area as being resolution, subdominant area is being like some mild tension, or as I like to call it, light tension, and then the dominant area is being tension. So we can see the 1 is the tonic area. The 4 normally is the subdominant area. The 1 is a tonic area. 4 minor, yeah, we're still going to call it subdominant area. So we can see that it's alternating between tonic area, subdominant area, tonic area, subdominant area. But it's not quite cut and dry as all that. Because the 1 note right here is actually the lowest note in the chord, that actually serves to extend the feeling of the tonic area all the way through here, all the way through here as well. So because these 4 chords share the same lowest note as the 1 chord, you can see the lowest note in all these chords is F. That actually makes this whole thing sound as if it's in the tonic area the whole time, even though we have 4 chords, which normally would be the subdominant area. So they actually serve to extend the tonic area. Sometimes I wish you could have like a type thing. Okay. All right. Type a 3 if you learned something so far today. And type a 3 and a 4 if you're having fun. Let's do this thing. Route 255. Day. Day after day. They take my friends away. To mansions cold and gray. To the far side of town. Where the thin men stalk the streets and the saints stay underground. That's very early David Bowie. That's a real song. David Bowie. Early David Bowie. It's a very interesting tune. Hydration break. Okay, well, Music Sheep and Yoshi Star, I gotta know, why is Route 225 your favorite? And by the way, if you're lurking watching the stream, you haven't typed anything, you can also hang out. All right, let me know if I think of Van Halen when I hear 225. For sure I will. If I'm going to say like Rush, like YYZ 225, there's going to be some like numerology deep dive there. Okay. Second favorite, Yoshi Star 705 specifies. Yeah, Van Halen, maybe. 80s, definitely. You know, it might surprise you to know I've listened to quite a bit of Van Halen, but not nearly as much as I have of like Bon Jovi or like Metallica or stuff like that. Also, we have a fun super chat. Normally I wait till the end to read out super chats, but I think this one's fun. Multiple Stool says, been enjoying your composition videos lately. I've been making videos where I compose stuff under a time limit. It's been fun. You reckon you have your knowledge to create your own Diamond Pearl song using its sound font? Okay. Technically, no, because I don't know where to find the sound font or how to bring that into my DAW. So based off of those two lacking pieces of knowledge, no, I don't. Everything else, the music, yeah, I think I've got it handled. But I'm not sure how to actually do that specifically. So that would be an area I could go learn something. How about that? As a fun challenge, it would be a fun challenge. I think it's also cool. That's a great idea, Multiple Stool, to do it with the sound font of the game. That's actually a pretty cool idea. Thanks for that. That hosts video game sound font packs, and what you just download them into the DAW. But then what do? You put them in a sampler or something? See, I don't even know how to load that into a thing to create a situation. Anyway, back to this. Okay. So Route 225, Diamond and Pearl, holds a very interesting chord progression that sounds a little 80s, sounds a little gospel, and, well, sounds a whole lot of fun. We're in the key of C major, and it starts... Ooh, that is out of tune. Doing a live stream, tuning your guitar. Doing a live stream, tuning your guitar. Yeah. We're doing a live stream, tuning a guitar. 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 All right. So in the key, I need a sound font player VST. Oh, yeah. Okay. That makes sense. I use Logic, so it'll be some type of auto unit thing. So it's some type of interface that you load it in where you can figure out what the sound fonts are. Cool. Yeah, we'll do that. All right. So we're in the key of C major. We have a 1. Double. 1. Now to flat 6. Oh, to flat 7. And then back to 1. Now, what's really cool about this is that normally flat 6 and flat 7 you don't find them in the key of C major. If you use all the notes of a C major, you're not going to find this chord or this chord, which means they come from outside of the key. Let me show you and explain. So when I write something down like this, and I just say C, and there's nothing after it, it's just a C, that means the key is C major. If I put a minus sign, the key is going to be C minor. But I didn't put a minus sign, I just put a C, so C major. Anytime you see a major key, and then the Roman numerals have flats in them, it means the Roman numerals are borrowed from outside of the key. Now what we can see is here a flat 6 and a flat 7. Now all the notes of a C major scale are going to be C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. Flat 6 is going to be A flat. Flat 7 is going to be B flat. Let's look at the notes in an A flat major. We have A, C, and E flat in an A flat major, and then in a B flat major we have B, D, F. Now we can see, sure enough, that for our flat 7, the D and the F, these are found in the key of C major. We can see as well for our flat 6 that the note of C is also found in C major. So we can see that the flat 6 and flat 7 do borrow some notes from inside of the key of C major. However, this is where it gets interesting. The A flat is not in C major, neither is the E flat. The B flat is also not in C major. Now I think where the plot really thickens is that this E flat right here, This is actually the flat 3 of the key. So if we were thinking about the scale degrees, we'd have scale degree 1 would be C, scale degree 2 would be D, scale degree 3 would be E, but this is actually scale degree E flat, so it's actually scale degree flat 3. So cool. What an interesting note to have, especially right after you hear the C major chord, which inside of it has a C, an E, and a G. So you go from the E note all the way here to hitting an E flat right here. So it's basically like major third over here to minor third over here. And I'm writing that as an interval, so let's not do that. Let's do the scale degree 3 here, the scale degree 3 here to scale degree flat 3 over here. Really cool stuff. Yeah, Grant says, these streams have taught me that these chords are a lot more important to music than I thought they were. Haha. Well, you know, I think also, too, is that I haven't quite figured out a way yet to write stuff down as fast as I could. We'll get there with melody. But right now, I'm really enjoying, I've gotten pretty good at doing these breakdowns with the harmony. And so as breaking down the harmony, I think it's a pretty cool way of doing it. And then it actually puts us in a copyright neutral zone. Because I'm not writing the melody down, I can talk about the chords. Chords are not copyrightable. Whereas if I actually write the melody down and play the melody, that is copyrightable. So it leaves us in a kind of a interesting place where I'm on the right side of the law and we all get to learn something. And some cool stuff. All right, let's keep rocking and rolling. I'm just color coding this for you. Route 225, Night, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, holds a surprising chord progression that actually changes keys. Well, doesn't really change keys. It borrows notes from different keys as it goes through. So check this out. It starts in the key B minor. We start with the one. Ya dun 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 dun. Then we go to a 4 major in first inversion. Dun 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 ya. Then we go to a 4 minor. Ya dun 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 dun. Then we go to flat 6. Dun 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 dun. To flat 7 to 7, fully diminished 7, which then brings us back to 1. Now, a couple interesting things here. Number 1, we can see here we have a major 4 chord. Oops, you daisy. Here we have a major 4 chord, which is actually going to be borrowed from the parallel major. Then we go straight to a 4 minor, straight after the 4 major. That's wild and totally cool. Then flat 6, flat 7. This is pretty common stuff for minor keys. Now, what is interesting is this 7 fully diminished 7 chord right here. This actually functions as the dominant area to push us and create tension that's going to bring us back to this 1, and the 1 is going to be like resolution. So with this enhanced understanding, let's listen to it one more time. We have 1 to 4 in first inversion, to 4 minor, to flat 6, to flat 7, to 7 fully diminished 7. That then brings us back to 1. Oh, maybe. All right, let's keep it going. Oh, this is very Pokemon Black and White now. This is cool. Yes, but the harmony music sheet is like harmony we hear in Black and White. Yes, obviously also Ruby Sapphire. All right, this is wild. So in Lilycove Town Resort Area, Pokemon Platinum, we can hear surprisingly out-of-tune instruments, which creates a very interesting emotional impact for what seems like it should just be like a resort theme. Let's check this out. It starts off with a bossa nova style, which for many video games encompasses like a beach vacation area feeling, or a place where it's warm, nice, and sunny. But even right there, if your ear's going, something's a little off, you'd be right. That guitar is a little out of tune. And I'm saying guitar because it's not really a guitar. It's all, you know, chiptune-y stuff, but... Now let's skip here. All right. Na, 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 na. So here's it relatively in tune. Now let's listen to what it sounds like in the recording. if I'm not even playing the right notes. Hold on. Okay, so here we have in tune. Here we have slightly out of tune. That's out of tune. In tune. Yeah. Now let's play it together. Yeah, if you could hear the difference between my guitar and the recording, that's because it's been detuned slightly. A curious artistic choice, and I'd love to understand the composer's intention behind choosing this particular sound. Let's keep it going with Resort Area Twinleaf. All right, one more time. All right, enjoy Resort Area Lilycove again while I write this down for you, because it's actually going to take more writing than it did. I know it's only 39 seconds. It'll take me a second to write it down. Resort Area Twinleaf Town holds a simple but beautiful chord progression that pulls at the heartstrings. In the key of D major, it starts with a 1 chord. Then it goes to a 5 of 2, and then it goes to the 2, then to a 5, and at the very last second, it's adding a sharp 5 to the 5 before going back to the 1. And in fact, if we were to think about this in terms of 7th chords, which honestly I'd like to, we have, there we go. Yeah, and then we could actually call this like a flat 13 instead of a sharp 5. Yeah, there we go. So here we go. We have 1, oh, to a 5 of 2, to a 2 minor 7, to a 5, at the very last second, flat 13, back to 1. Now let's understand what I mean by 5 of 2. 5 of 2, this is going to be called a secondary dominant. And what a secondary dominant does is it comes from outside the key into the music to create tension, resolution to a chord that's in the key. It doesn't have to be in the key, but in this case, that is, in this case, in the key. So this 5 of 2, this uses notes that are not in the key. So let's check this out. We're in the key of D major. So the notes are going to be D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, and C sharp. Now, to understand what notes are in the 5 of 2, first let's understand what notes are in the 2. So we start on scale degree 2, we skip 1, and we skip another one. We have 2, 4, 6. These are going to be the notes in R2. So R2 is going to be E, G, B, which equals an E minor, also known as 2 minor. Now the 5 of 2 is going to be a B7. How do I know that? Because I'm going to count 5 from E. So I'm going to go E, F, G, A, B. That gets us B. So B7, we're going to have a B, we're going to have a D sharp, we're going to have an F sharp, and we're going to have an A. All right, let's do some quick sleuthing here. Okay, B, yes, we find that in the key, and we actually also find that in the other chord. F sharp, yes, we find that in the key. We don't find that in the other chord. A, yes, we find that in the key. What note do we not find in the key? Here it is right here. It's the D sharp. Now the D sharp, one of the reasons why this is not in the key is this D sharp creates a leading tone relationship to the E. It's 1/2 step below E if we're thinking in terms of it being lower. And that creates a leading tone, or if we're thinking about this in terms of classical music, tendency tone, to bring us up 1/2 step to resolve to this E minor. So this D sharp right here, that's the tension. Now, another part of the tension is between the A and the D sharp, which creates a tritone, or in this case, let's see, from D sharp to A, a diminished fifth, which creates tension. That then is a second layer of tension that resolves. The D sharp resolves up to E, and the A resolves, make it go to G or B. Technically speaking, it would go to, that's the 4. 4 usually goes down if we're thinking contrapuntally. 4 will go down, but in this case, because it's G minor, it's a whole step down or a whole step up. So I'm going to say it could go either way, and that would go to the G. And that's how we get the résolution. Not to be confused with le révolution. All right, let's keep it rocking and rolling. Okay. Let's keep this rocking and rolling with root 228 D. Oh my goodness. All right, one more time to get this beginning riff here. Jamiroquai, exactly. Yeah, Jamiroquai and... What's that song by, I think it's Bill Withers? I'm not gonna remember it. There's some song by Bill Withers that has this. Thank you, two of us. We can make... Just the two of us. We'll make it if we try. Just the two of us. Just the two of us. Just the two of us. Building castles in the sky. Just the two of us. Just the two of us. By the way, if you want to sound cool in 2025, this is how you sing. Just the two of us. Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us. Just the two of us. Pop singers. What are you going to do with them? Can't live with them, can't live without them. You know what I mean? Okay. Okay. What am I doing? It's pop music, bro. See, Rayvac says it does sound cooler. Told you. Modern pop Dan, exactly. Okay. So, Route 228 Pokemon Diamond and Pearl has a Jamiroquai Bill Withers influenced chord progression that is really cool for a couple of... that's really cool for 3 reasons. Reason number 1, it doesn't start on the tonic. It starts on flat 6, then it goes to 5, then it goes to 1, then 1 over flat 7. Let's listen to that one time. So cool. Reason number 2, the dominant area is the second chord, not the last chord. This gives this whole chord progression a feeling of never really resting. It's kind of like the Royal Road chord progression. If we put a repeat sign on this, it's just going to go around and around and around, and it's never going to want to stop. That's because there is no definitive ending. Yes, it does land on 1 here, but it lands on 1 in the 3rd measure. And in the 4th measure, we have a 1 over flat 7. This creates some light tension. It's hard to even call it tension, but it does create light tension that loops us back around to the flat 6. And because the flat 6 doesn't really sound like it's a beginning, it then pushes us to the tension of the 5, which then pushes us to the 1, which is not really the end because it's only measure 3, and around and around and around we go. Number 3, the use of the 1 minor over flat 7 as opposed to actually using the flat 7 chord. So I'll play it one time for you with actually the flat 7 chord in place, and then I'll play it for you again with the 1 over the flat 7. So here we go. Flat 6 to 5 to 1 to 1 over flat 7 to flat 6 to 5 to 1 to flat 6 to 1 over flat 7. Now, if instead of 1 over flat 7, we actually play the flat 7, this is what it'll sound like. Flat 6, 5, 1, flat 7, flat 6, 5, 1, flat 7, which doesn't sound bad, but it's not the same thing. It's not the same emotional vibe. Here it is one time from the top. Flat 6, 5, 1 over flat 7, flat 6. Cool stuff. All right, let's keep on rocking in the free world. With Route 228 Knight. All right, we got that. That's easy enough. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. To our 5 of 2. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. To 5, 7. We'll call it flat 13. Okay, to 4. To 4 minor. To 1. To 5 of 2. To 2. For 2 measures, 2, which is really interesting. Doing? Really? It's like a flat 2 there. 2, 7. Oh, that's so interesting. All right, I'm gonna let this play for you as I write this down and color code it for you. right about that last chord? Oh, I'm second guessing myself here. Here we go. I actually think that is a more accurate interpretation of what we got so far here, if you ask me. All right, we are done color coding. Let's rock and roll this thing. Route 228 Night. Route 228 Night, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl switches between the keys of C major and C minor. Let me show you how. It starts off in the key of C major with a 1 to a 5 of 2 to a 2 to a 5 flat 13. And then it goes to 4, 4 minor, 1, 5 of 2. Now here's where it gets interesting. It does the 2 minor. Now it goes to flat 2, 7 with like a 9 in it. Flat 2, 7, 9. Oops. Flat 2, 7, 9. Then it switches straight to C minor, and it's doing this sort of Bill Withers thing. The flat 6 to 5 to 1 to what I'm going to call the 5 of 6 back to the 1 to 5. Excuse me, back to the flat 6 to 5 to 1 to the 5 of flat 6. So I think what's really interesting is here to talk about a couple of things. Number one, we have two up here. The harmonic rhythm here is that it's one chord for every 2 measures. And here we actually... Excuse me. We have the subdominant here. So right here, it's one chord for every 2 measures. Now what happens here is the harmonic rhythm speeds up. It's one chord for every 1 measure. Now here it slows back down for the transition. So it's one chord for every 2 measures, and then here it's one chord for every 1 measure. So that right there shows you just at the harmonic tempo level, the harmonic speed, how contrast is being made with how quickly new harmonies are being introduced. Now, if we take this one step further, what I want to go in and look at is a couple of interesting transitions within this chord progression. First is from the 4 to the 4 minor here. Now, we've heard this before in Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, so I'm not going to say it's out of the ordinary for this soundtrack, but this is not something that you hear every single day. It's really cool, really delightful. Now, this way of getting us back to C minor, getting us to C minor, this flat 2, 7. This flat 2, 7, we could also think about this really as being the 4, 7 of flat 6, right? So it's actually creating something of a plagal movement. Plagal is anytime we move from a 4 to a 1. It's creating like not a secondary dominant, but like a secondary plagal movement from the, what is essentially the 4, 7 of the flat 6 here. And that in and of itself is a modern and bluesy approach. Instead of using a secondary dominant, using a secondary, well, 4th, the secondary plagal. That's cool. That's not something you see every day. And then this added 9 right here actually functions as being, yeah, that 9 here is the same note as we had for the flat 13 right here. So I'm going to circle these in blue. This 9 right here and this flat 13 is the same note. And you'll notice that I've colored both this 5, 7 and this flat 2 red. That's because they're both functioning as a dominant. The flat 2 is functioning as a dominant as a tritone substitution, meaning like we can see that there's a connection between this 9 and this flat 13, there's actually 2 other notes inside of this 5 that are connected to 2 other notes inside this flat 2. Let me show you. So inside of the 5, the notes we have are going to be G, B, D, F, and then if we have the flat 13, we're also going to think about that we have like a E flat up here. Oops, the flat goes on the other side. I promise you I know how music works. Okay, E flat. Then in this flat 2, 7, 9, what we're going to have is we're going to have, here we do, flat 2, 7, 9, and this is 5, 7, flat 13. So this flat 2, 7, 9, we're going to have a D flat, we're going to have an F, we're going to have an A flat, we're going to have a C flat, and then, yeah, we're also going to have the E flat, which is the 9. So let's find our common notes. Interestingly enough, C flat and B are the same notes. It's just different spellings of it. It's like if we say the word two and the word two and the word two, they're spelled differently, but they all sound the same. In the same way, C flat and B, it's spelled differently, but it sounds exactly the same. A little easier to spot of a connection, we have F to F right there, and then we have the shared E flat and shared E flat. So that's why both of these function as the dominant area. And there's 3 areas in music. We have tonic, subdominant, dominant. Tonic area is like home and safety. Subdominant area is like you go out into the world. There is some mild danger. It's rated PG. And then the danger is like, oh, it's rated PG-13. There are evil robots. There are explosions. And yes, so these are the 3 areas of music. And whenever I color it red, it's showing some type of tension, some type of dominant. So here you can see dominant, 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 dominant. Secondary dominant here, but still dominant areas. Whew. Ladies and gentlemen, for my next trick, I'll be performing. Not a trick. It's not a trick. Do you think I'm some conjurer of cheap tricks? Good band. Let's check out Stark Mountain. Oh, please? As in you want more? Sure, you got it. I'm not sure if this is going to be in sync because my guitar and the music's awful. Now, for all you kids who heard Stark Mountain in Pokemon Diamond and Pearl and thought surely someone should play the melody to Megalovania over this, I've got good news for you. Girl, You got what I need. And you say it's a melody of Megalovania over Stark Mountain. And you say it's a Megalovania over melody of Megalovania over Stark Mountain. Oh, baby, you got what I need. All right, check it out. Now, I just want to point something out, that it's been a historic consistent that every time I've played the Megalovania melody over another piece of music, someone has super chatted a pink super chat. It's been a time-honored tradition here on this channel, so I want to thank Troy, in this case, for keeping it going. So I've been watching ever since finding your Untail OST. I've really enjoyed seeing your breakdown of OSTs in a way even layman like me can understand. I appreciate you, Troy. Thank you very much. Thank you for supporting this channel. I really appreciate you. Thank you. I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day today, and hope you enjoy the rest of the stream. And another thanks to Troy. I'll read the rest of these at the end. I really appreciate it, Troy. Thank you so much. Thanks for hanging out. Thank you very much for your support. All right. Let's keep it rocking with battle. Legendary. A legendary battle. A battle for the ages. A battle. Do it. Lies of P. Elden Ring. You got it, Troy. Thank you. I appreciate you. Troy is just showing us some love today. Troy, I don't know. Thanks for the love. Really appreciate you. Thank you. In battle, legendary Pokemon, in Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, we hear a very interesting series of notes that not only shows us that we're in a battle theme, but actually that this is not an ordinary battle theme at all. In previous generations and in previous battle themes in Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, we consistently hear 3 notes and 3 chords to match these 3 notes. The 3 notes we hear are 1, flat 2, and flat 7. Now, for those of you who are very sharp-eyed, you'll notice we got the flat 2 here, we got the flat 2 here, we got the flat 2 here, we got the 1 here. Oops, let's get a different color for that. We got the 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. Now, you might be noticing there ain't no flat 7 here, and you'd be right. Instead, there's a 4, changing it up, which creates a very, very interesting melodic contour compared to where it would normally go to a flat 7. So we have like a 1. No, let's get a little bit more zhuzh on this, please. Zhuzh. I need zhuzh. Here, we have like the 1 to the flat 2 to the 1, back to the flat 2 to the 1 to the 4 to the flat 2, then to the 1. Ooh, very different than which would be the 1, the flat 2, and the flat 7 like we hear in previous battle themes, not just in this generation, but previous generations of Pokemon games as well. All right, let's keep it rocking. In Battle Tower Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, we hear two things in the introduction of the chord progression that are, well, you know, I really wanted to give you a little hook for you to listen to on that one. And I got to be honest with you. I started talking, and normally my brain figures it out. I didn't sleep too much last night. My brain gave me 0 words. Like, usually I just start talking, and the words just appear. They didn't. With your permission, type a 2 in the chat. I'm going to try that again. Again, with your permission, type a 2 in the chat. I'm going to give a second try at that. Okay, I appreciate you. Thank you. We're having J2O Juiced being very polite saying, you may. Thank you. Reset. Ah. In Battle Tower and Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, we hear a chord progression that allows us to continue and extend the tonic area in an interesting and unique way. What we can hear is that it starts off with a 1 to a 4 to a 1 to a 4 chord. That's going to sound a little something like this. We have the 1 and the key of D flat to the 4 over 1 to the 1 to the 4. Now you may notice that I've actually colored and added an extra little thing. Under the 4, this Roman numeral, I've put a number 1 and I've colored it green. And under this 4, I've put a number 1 and colored it green. That's because these 4 chords are actually in second inversion. They're in second inversion, which means normally the notes for the 4 chord would be G flat, B flat, and D flat. But in this case, we've actually taken the D flat, and watch this. We've taken the D flat and oops, we also grabbed the B flat. Let's try that one more time. We'll get it. I'm providing you real-time animation here. Real-time animation on a budget. Okay, we're grabbing the D flat and we're moving it down here so it's actually below the G flat. So it's still the same notes, it's just a different order of the notes, and the D flat is going to be the lowest note. Now, if we look at this one chord here, the lowest note is also going to be D flat, and then we have an F, and then we have an A flat. So what we can see is that the lowest note for all of these chords is going to be D flat the whole way through. This is what extends the tonic area throughout these 4 measures of this chord progression. So what is the tonic area anyway? Now, if you've already heard me say this 5 times, repetition is the mother of skill. You're gonna get this. The tonic area, you can say it along with me, the tonic area is home and safety. It's like resolution in music. That's a house, by the way. This is a house. Then we have the subdominant area, which is like we go out into the world and we go on adventures, and there's a little bit of danger, because what's an adventure if there isn't a little bit of danger, right? So the subdominant area is some light tension. Then we have the dominant area. The dominant area is where we face our fears. We fight the evil robot. Here's the evil robot. And that is going to be the height of tension. So you have the tonic area, subdominant area, and dominant area. Now, normally the 4 chord, this 4 chord right here, is actually going to be in the subdominant area. That's why I've colored it yellow instead of green. It's actually the subdominant area. But because we have this 1, 1, 1, 1 D flat note as the lowest note for all 4 of these chords, it actually serves to extend the tonic area and make it sound like this whole chord progression is in the tonic area. Type a 3 in the chat if you feel like you're starting to get the tonic, subdominant, dominant thing. I've said it a couple times, but tell me if you feel like you're starting to get it. It's like, oh yeah, it feels like safety. I got it. Let me know if that's starting to sink in. And I don't mean that in a patronizing way. I generally mean that in a curious way. Battle Arcade. is when it's on here. We get it. Oh, let's put some zhuzh on this here. Give me some zhuzh. I can actually tell what that lowest note is. If you have perfect pitch, what's that lowest note? That one. Oh. Is that a B? That's an F sharp. We got a couple Bs. I think it might be a B too. I don't think it's B. I'll look at the MIDI, says for mixing. How quickly can you look at the MIDI? That lowest one right there. That. Man, I am not getting that. Well, there is a bit. No. Okay, the thing in the left ear is doubling. If I can figure out what the thing in the left ear is, we've got it. I think it is an A. Oh, it is a B. I don't know why I was overcomplicating that. Oftentimes when I find myself getting stuck, it's because I'm way overcomplicating something. Except that's down an octave. Ah, that is a cool riff, man. That is a cool riff. It's a B. Listen to what's going on in the left ear. It's copying it. Isn't that funny that it's like, man, I can hear down to like the C above that pretty well. For some reason, I'm not well, it's not for some reason. I'm not practiced in hearing that B note and hearing notes that low. I'm like, I was not picking that up. That was really funny. All right, this is Battle Arcade Pokemon. So in Battle Arcade Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, we hear a riff that sounds a little something like this. Oh, we have to play it up an octave if we're going to get it right. That's kind of cool. Now let's see if I can play it 2 times in a row. Let's see if we can do it with some panache. 3, 4. Oh, let me take these headphones off. Yeah, one more time. Man, that string skip is tricky. All right, so let's actually unpack that and understand what's going on. So, yeah. By the way, Yoshi Star says, you're getting stuck, nothing new. Remember Kirby the Forgotten Land? I struggled to figure out a minor 251. Right, sometimes there's a really obvious thing, and in my head I'm going, no, it can't be that. It's got to be some super complicated thing. And for whatever reason, I'm just like, I don't know, just overcomplicating things to a point that they don't need to be overcomplicated too. All right. Let's get this. Evie. Come on, Evie. Come on, Evie. You can do it, Evie. All right, Evie. I need a nap. Okay. There we go. So, and sometimes, the most obvious answer is the answer. Okay, so we hear 5, flat 7, 5, flat 7, 5, 3, 2, and then 1 down an octave. That's going to be 8VB. Now, if you know anything about music or if you've read music before, you might have seen 8VA. 8VA means to play something 1 octave higher. 8VB means to play something lower. 8VA, 8V equals octave, and then A equals alto. Alto is in high. And then 8V here, again, equals octave, and then the B equals basso, like bass, which means low. So we have 8VA, 8VB, so this is going to be the octave down. Now, another interesting thing to point out is the 3 to the flat 2. Now, obviously, this is Battle Arcade. This flat 2, 1, and flat 7, I'm going to highlight these notes right here. So we have flat 7, flat 7, flat 2, 1. These are the emblematic notes of conflict when it comes to Pokemon in all of the generations from Gen 1 through this here, Gen 4. Now, if we take this one step further, what's interesting is we also hear this 3, this major third, which creates this Phrygian major sound, which we've also heard in many of the battle themes in Pokemon. Let's listen to this one time. So we have 5, flat 7, 5, flat 7, back to 5, 3 major, flat 2, and then 1 down an octave. So cool. Gorgeous riff. Let's keep on rocking in the free world, shall we? Oops. The Battle Hall Pokemon Diamond and Pearl has a music theater chord progression that sounds absolutely delightful and keeps the momentum going while implying a tonic subdominant to dominant movement without actually using the subdominant or dominant chords. Listen to this little figure. So what we have here is an A with an A. This is scale degree 1 and 1, an octave apart. Now we have 1 with the 3 below it, 1 with the 4 below it, 1 with the 5 below it. And so this actually implies a chord progression where we're going 1 to 1 in first inversion to 4 to 5, and I'll show you the connection. And so I've actually colored the 4 yellow and the 5 red to show that that's implying the dominant area and that the 4 is implying the subdominant area, and then the 1 is the 3. So here it is as a chord progression. 1 in first inversion, 4, 5, 1 in first inversion, 4, 5. Now here it is just with the notes. So you can hear how just the notes are implying all this delicious harmony behind it. And this is something you can hear a whole lot, again, in music theater. Very interesting to find this in a Pokemon game and a battle hall at that. Let's keep on rocking and rolling with this next one, which is gonna be I'ma be. All right, I think it's looping. All right, so let's put us back so you can see me full screen here. Oh, wrong one. Okay, so Battle Factory, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, holds a funky chord progression hidden behind a whole lot of industrial sound. Let's check it out. Here's the industrial sound with the chord progression hidden inside of it. Did you hear it? It was right there. Let's listen to it again in a different place. It's the same chord progression. It's still there. It's still the same chord progression. You might be saying, what chord progression could that possibly be? I just heard a bunch of noises, and yeah, there was a couple notes in there. What are you talking about? Actually, what we can hear is a 1 minor to a 4 dominant chord progression applied. I'll show you. Let's listen to what we just listened to. Here's our 1. That's the 4. 1, 4, 1. And now here it loops around. 1, 4. So you can hear how just because something has a chord progression doesn't just mean you need to sit there and play the chords. No, indeed. You can, in fact, take that underlying harmony and transform it and modulate it, well, transform it and mold it in interesting and significant ways to create interesting music around any basic chord progression that you could hear in 1,000 other pieces of music. Let's keep this rocking and rolling. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Kind of a 4/1 to a dum dum dum. Really? I guess so. wow. Okay. That's cool. That's so interesting. 5 to 1. Really? Oh, bro, I need to sleep. Really? Hold on. I'm totally lost. 1 second. We're gonna get this. Yeah, I'm making something with my head. 4, 5 to 1. Yeah, I mean, obviously it's not exactly that, but yeah. 5, 1, 5, 2, 3, 4. Whoa, so cool. And that time it's going 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. So this will actually be our first ending. Second ending. We're going to have a 4 minor to a 1 in first inversion. The Battle Castle in Pokemon Diamond and Pearl has a classical music-inspired chord progression that is very interesting to say the least because it only uses 1s, 4s, 5s, and 2s along with some secondary dominants. Let's check in and explore it. So here we have 1, we're in the key of G flat major, to then what sounds like a 4 over 1, and then it goes to the 5 of 2, to the 2, to 5, to 1, to 5, 1, 5, and then it goes back to 1. We're back at the top. 1, 4 over 1, 5 of 2, to 2, 4 minor this time, to 5 in first inversion, excuse me, to 1 in first inversion, to 5, to 1. Oh, so cool. So some of the interesting things here is that we have this 4 over 1 here, which serves to extend the 1 basically to here, making it feel like the tonic area actually lasts from here to here. Then we have a secondary dominant here, the 5 of 2, that leads us to 2. Then the 2 brings us to 5. So from here to here, we have a movement from subdominant to dominant. Then we go to tonic, And then I'm just going to say this is 1/5 just for making sense's sake. Then we have 5, 1/5 to 5 to the true dominant here. So this is ending in a half cadence. If it ends on the 5, it's ending on a half cadence. Then it repeats back to the top, and it goes 1, 4/1 again, 5/2 to 2 minor. The second time through, it's going 4 minor, borrowing from the parallel minor, to 1 in first inversion, which creates this little descending bass line of 4 to 3, then to 5, then to 1. A delightful chord progression in this here. This is just the A section of Battle Castle Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. Let's keep on rocking. Okay, so these next 3, I'm probably not going to break down too much because they're like 5 seconds long. Let's take a listen to these. Actually, I'm going to break that down. So received battle points. So cool. All right. In received battle points, Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, and actually, I think this technically is no longer Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. I'm seeing our friend, the evil guy. So this is actually going to be Platinum. So in received battle points in Pokemon Platinum from Pokemon Platinum, Diamond, and Pearl, we hear this little melody being played over the chords. Let's listen to it one time. Actually, we don't even hear the 1. So we hear this melody being played over the chords. It's just walking down from the 5 to the 1, which creates a movement from the dominant area here to the tonic area here, basically moving us from tension through to resolution. So this is our tonic area and resolution. This is our dominant area and tension. And it moves us from tension into resolution. And so it doesn't have to be a long and complicated piece for us to look and appreciate the melody and how the melody actually tells a story. This melody is telling us a story. It's showing us we have the height of tension here in the dominant area that then leads us to fundamentally the release of all that tension and relaxation and resolution in the tonic area. Let's listen to it, and if we can, play along. There we go. That was a fun little lesson. Let's see if we can get this next one. And then it does what? Okay, that's cool. So we have it's like resolution, tension, resolution, tension, light tension, tension. Oh, this is so stinking cool. Oh my gosh, you guys. The melody for battle points received in Pokemon Platinum shows us a movement from tension to resolution 2 times to light tension and ultimately ends on tension without a resolution. Check this out. Sounds like this. So really, I'm thinking this as being in the key of B major. And so we're starting on the F sharp. 4, sharp 4, and we can think about it as being here. The 5 is tension. Let's do it with a pen. So the 5 is tension. The 1 is resolution. 5 is tension, was in resolution. The 4 is light tension, and then the 5 is tension. We can think about the 5 as being the dominant area. The 1 is belonging to the tonic area. The 5, again, being dominant, the 1 tonic, the 4 subdominant, and the 5 dominant. Now, this doesn't 100% line up with the chords that we hear. However, this does show us the progression of tension and resolution at the melodic level that's happening here when we get awarded and receiving battle points. Super cool. Let's keep on rocking. Yeah, let's go to the next one. Taking a vacation on that one. In Battle Frontier Brain and Pokemon Platinum, we hear a chord progression that starts off not at all like Pokemon battle music, but then all of a sudden hits us over the head directly with the classic Pokemon battle music sounds. Let's check that out. We're in the key of E. Not so common, first of all, in terms of battle music. A lot of times we've heard battle music in the key of C. And it starts off with, oh, let's put a little zhuzh on this too. There we go. So it starts off with a 1, flat 6, flat 7, to 1, and it's like a 1 major. Flat 6, flat 7, and then it goes to 1, then to flat 2. Oh! And that right there, the 1 to the flat 2, this is classic Pokemon battle music chords. However, the leading into it part up here, where we have the 1 to the flat 6 to the flat 7, this is just kind of like fun. It's just fun. And then it gets a little bit more serious. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 to flat 2. And I think an interesting thing to think about as well is the difference in the harmonic rhythm. So we can see that here we have 1 chord in the measure, we have 2 chords in the measure, 1 chord in the measure, 2 chords in the measure. Here we have 1 chord that lasts for 2 measures, here we have 1 chord that lasts for 2 measures. So in addition to changing the chords and bringing in the flat 2, there's an actual difference in the harmonic rhythm. Here, it's a lot faster, and then there's contrast right here where we go to these longer chords, which is a different section, and actually creating contrast at the section level using different harmonic rhythms in the chord progression. Let's keep on rocking. Pull it back. From Pokemon Platinum Victory Frontier Brain, we hear this chord progression in the key of D flat major. 1 to 1 in first inversion, to 4 to 5, and it repeats. 1, 1 over 3, 4, 5. Now, what's interesting about this chord progression is it's kind of about as basic as you can get when it comes to chord progression. How do we know that? Well, it starts off with the 1 in the tonic area. Then it goes to the 4, which is going to be the subdominant area. Then it goes to the 5, which is going to be the dominant area. Tonic leading to subdominant, leading to dominant. This is one of the most classic ways you can actually create music. Why is that? Well, the tonic area is kind of like safety. It's like we're at home. We're telling a story. We're saying, okay, you start off at home. Then we're saying you go out into the world. And when you go out into the world, well, there's a little bit more danger out in the world, ostensibly, than there is at home. And then you're going to have moments where there's lots of danger. Oh, you have to take that test. Oh, you need to pay that bill, whatever it is. You're going to have something where there's a lot of tension, and that's the dominant area. So this is the way music actually tells stories. It's through these 3 areas, and these 3 areas of tonic, subdominant, and dominant create the feelings of resolution, light tension, and tension. And through changing of resolution and tension, that's how stories get told. Not all stories, but many stories get told in music. All right, let's keep on rocking and rolling. those drums are cool. In Pokemon Platinum Battle Legendary Giant, we hear an ostinato pattern that actually moves up by a half step, creating a 1 to flat 2 relationship. This relationship is emblematic of Pokemon battle music throughout generations 1 through 4. Also, might be other generations, but we haven't got there yet. So 1 through 4. Now, here's what the pattern is. And then it moves up a half step to D. Now, let me show you my hands here. Let's play it one time good with you seeing my hands. I got this. It's an awkward angle to play guitar. Anyway, so what's happening here? We have this pattern here that repeats over and over again. When something repeats over and over again in a way that could be described as being stubborn, it is ostinato. Ostinato means repeating stubbornly. All right, let's check out this next one. Okay, that's fun. So, Azure Flute from Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. Something like that creates a very interesting melody. It sounds as if we're in the key of A minor. Let's write it out. So if we're in the key of A minor, the first note we're going to hear is going to be the flat 3, which is going to be C, to the second note, which is going to be A, which would be the 1. And then that repeats slightly different rhythm, and then it goes to the flat 5. Now, I don't know this game, and I've never played it, but based on these notes, I'm going to guess this flute isn't all sunshine and rainbows. I could be wrong. I could be totally off base, but it sounds as if there's something perhaps sinister or we're calling something dangerous with this flute. Or again, maybe I'm totally off base. Y'all let me know. Oh, it's the flute. The Azure Flute never got released. Interesting. The main Pokemon leitmotif? I don't think so. Yeah, Sacred and Arcane. It doesn't sound like it's... Like, if you think about the flute from A Link to the Past, where it's like you call your bird, it's like a little friendly tune that gets played. This is not that. This doesn't sound as if we're calling a bird for a lift. Oh, it did. Hall of Origin. All right, we'll go back and get it. I'm gonna bring it back just a little bit here. Okay. This is interesting. Chat, how do I say the name? How do I say that name? Arceus? Arceus? Toys R Us? Something. Chapstick break while you tell me. Dennis. Arceus. Arceus. All right, now we've got people disagreeing. This is gonna be fun. Arceus. 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 All right, Arceus. Okay, in Battle Arceus Pokemon, we hear an interesting connection with the Azure Flute. Let me show you. So in the battle, we're in the key of D flat. We hear 1, flat 3, flat 5. Now these are the same notes in a different order that we actually heard in the Azure Flute. In Azure Flute, we heard flat 3, 1, flat 3, 1, flat 5. So we're actually hearing a connection, perhaps musically, between the battle with Arceus and the Azure Flute. Just in the music. How cool is that? Yeah, okay, great. Bonus time! We did it, team. Oh, this is beautiful. I'm going to talk over these bonus tracks. Guys, I want to say thank you so much for joining me on this journey through Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. This was honestly a lot of fun. I got to wear my Eevee onesie the whole time. This has been just such a joy. This has been like over a month we've been doing this. This has been so cool. I've learned so much. I hope you've learned so much. It's just such a blessing to do this with you, and I'm so grateful we got to go on this ride together. This was honestly a lot of fun for me. I hope it was fun for you. It's great. I want to say a special thank you to J2O Juiced for being the playlist producer on this. Thank you so much, J2O Juiced. This was so cool, so much fun, and this was not possible without you. So thank you so much for hanging out. Really appreciate you. While we're here, I'm going to check for donations on Streamlabs. no, nothing today on Streamlabs. So we're going to go straight into reading Super Chats out. If I can find my... There we go, live streaming. Okay. Multiple Tool says, Music Theory for Gamers, been enjoying your composition videos lately. Knowledge is great, own Diamond Pearl soundtrack font. I need to figure out how to get those sound fonts in. But yeah, we could do it. I got the music skills to do it. No doubt there. Just technical skills of getting the right sounds. That's a whole nother can of worms. Rubman202 says, another boost to Pizza Tower bonus tracks, please. Ooh, that'll be fun. Matt Vegas says, Donkey Kong 64 OST, please. Thank you so much for your continued support, Rubberman202 and Matthew Banky. Appreciate you guys. Music Sheep says, is there a possibility of ever doing a video on bad video game music? No, because I would never call music bad. If so, I'd submit Burning Men's Souls and Persona Trinity. No, but Music Sheep, thank you very much for your support. And also, thank you for the fun idea. I really appreciate fun ideas. So thank you very much for putting that up. Troy says, hey, Dan, I'm not best music coach. The company's best music coach. But yeah, okay. I've been watching you ever since finding your... And that's splitting hairs. I'm just being particular. I haven't slept. Please forgive me. Okay, watching you ever since finding Unreal OST reaction analysis. That's sometimes. Thanks so much for your support there. I've really been enjoying seeing you break down OSTs in a way even music theory layman like me can understand. Appreciate you. Thank you, Troy. Troy goes on to say, huge fan of Metal Gear Revengeance and Nier vids in particular, plus Undertale, of course. Seeing how much work and thought goes into the music of the games I really love gives me new appreciation and love for them. You musicians really deserve a raise. Thank you, Troy. Troy goes on to say, considering Deep Rock Galactic has already been bumped up to the top 4, but the rest of these level people, I'd like to put 100 towards Lies of P, another 100 towards Elden Ring Shadows of Erdtree. You got it, Troy. Troy goes on to say, both of which I feel will be fascinating for you to hear your thoughts on, even if it's just simple enjoyment. Many thanks for all the work you do, and I look forward to seeing your future vids. Sorry for spam supers. Want to send the full message. Thank you for spamming. Bro, spam me with super chats any day. Thank you very much for your support. Appreciate you. Luke Razor says, tragic bit of history, the Azure Flute, Arceus tracks never saw the light of day because the associated event item never got distributed. Oh, let's just enjoy this music here. And as soon as this music is over, I'm going to end the stream. So thank you very much for joining me. Let's crank this and enjoy this for a minute here.